Hi, and welcome to Awakened Minds, where we embark on a journey at the intersects of science and spirituality. Join me as I explore the profound connections between these two seamlessly different realms, uncovering insights that challenge conventional wisdom and expand our understanding of the universe and ourselves. In each episode, I'll dive into some unique aspects of scientific discoveries or spiritual principles, from quantum physics to mindfulness practices, from neuroscience to ancient philosophies. Awaken Minds is your guide to exploring the frontier of human consciousness and unlocking the mysteries of existence. Prepare to awaken your mind, expand your perspective, and join the conversation as we bridge the gap between science and spirituality. Welcome to Awaken Minds. I'm your host, Tiffany Clark. Hello, welcome to another episode. So today I'm going to be talking about embracing your true purpose in the journey of self-discovery. So I want you to think of, just off the top of your head, what you think your true purpose is. I work with a lot of people, and it's a common theme where I notice people struggle with connecting and identifying their purpose. There's a sense of feeling lost, misdirection, not really sure where to go. And one thing I really like to teach people is looking at your passions. What do you feel passionate about? Because your passion often connects you to your purpose. So just to share a quick story, when I was kind of stepping into my path, I was actually going to school to be a nurse. It was something I knew I wanted to help people. I just didn't know in what capacity. So I was going to school, doing everything for the nursing degree. And I started to notice a sense of confliction, that something just wasn't really aligned. It was with helping people, but not necessarily in the way that I felt internally in my soul, my body, that just something wasn't matching up. And so when I was in this space of self-discovery, I realized everything I did in my spare time was reading books on psychology. And when I pinned those two together, I realized, well, if I'm doing this for fun, this is something I enjoy as a passion, why am I not going to school for this? Why am I not studying and researching this? So when we're in the process of embracing your true purpose and self-discovery, really first looking at what is it that you feel passionate about, that gets you very excited, that you would do as a hobby. And really, if you had all the money in the world already, let's say every need of yours was fulfilled, how would you want to spend your spare time? What would you want to be doing? Because if we look at if every need is already met, and your internal desire then, maybe it's to help people, maybe it's to create art and paint and draw, build something, be a designer, architect, those kind of can be strong indicators of where our internal core parts are trying to get us to go and lean towards. So a lot of times with embracing our true purpose too, a second thing I notice is the logical mind tends to jump in and stop and derail people. So when we're looking at the logical mind, it looks at, is this financially sound? Does this make sense as a career progression? Is this going to be sustainable? And we just kind of go through the normal checklist of items that look at safety and security. But sometimes a soul calling and our true purpose at first is not going to make any sense. So I'll share a second story with you. So in my journey, I was in the military. And I had the strong desire to suddenly get out and pursue this degree in psychology. Now, for those of you in the military who have been in the military, it's a sense of security, you get a consistent paycheck, you have health care. So when I started telling people, hey, I'm going to get out, those were the first things that I heard from everybody is, why would you do that? Why would you leave this sense of security? Why would you leave and not have health care and et cetera, et cetera? So with that, then there was the second part where I felt super drawn to move to New Zealand. So not only get out, but move to a totally different country. And on paper, none of that makes any logical sense. Why would I want to jump and do all those different things when maybe, there's schools that are in America or staying in and doing school? But for me, my intuition, like this was so strong, like I just had to do it. So embracing that true purpose, thankfully I did actually follow those steps, got out, went and moved to New Zealand, and it was the most amazing life experience I could have ever asked for. And looking back, although it didn't make maybe logical sense, it made sense on my journey and path. I got education level that I feel I would not have received in the United States. I was submerged in different cultural perspectives on mental health and wellness that really opened up my eyes to different amazing, extraordinary ways of healing. I got to be submerged in the Maori culture, meet some amazing people that really shifted that perspective. So the journey for me unfolded in a way where, if we go back to the logical mind, it might not have made sense, but as I look back, it makes the most sense. Had I not done that, there were some valuable key elements of my learning and development, my sense of self-discovery, that I would not have achieved. So when you're looking at your journey and your path, those small little nudges and whispers that are within you are the key stepping stones. So one thing I got to really learn about in my most recent semester at school, which I thought was really cool, is we had a discussion about a calling, our soul calling, or what is a calling. And a calling is that gentle nudge for a specific direction, maybe to do something, maybe to try a different job. I love as well how the school addressed that calling could be to be a parent. Some people have that internal calling because their life path and purpose is working with children and helping their children develop and be maybe this extraordinary individual in the world. So a calling can be many different things for a lot of different people. It's not necessarily a career or, a shift in a career move. For me, it's very much been career-centered. My callings have been very aligned with specific directions. And that's just been my path. But for other people, listening to that inner nudge for yourself of what are these internal parts within you trying to get you to go into? What direction is your soul trying to lead you towards? And when we step into that soul calling, that true purpose within ourselves, this is where massive change and transformation can come forward, where we're gaining a sense of alignment, fulfillment in what we're doing, increased self-awareness, our emotional intelligence can shift, and significantly our life satisfaction. We know every part within us is aligned to what we're doing. Like we feel excited, overjoyed. I think of my journey and where it might be if I had followed through with nursing, although I'm sure it would have been very fulfilling. What I do now, I find just fulfilling in totally different level. Like I would do this for free because I love it so much. And often I have stepped in and done different techniques, especially like we look at energetic healing or Reiki sessions, or somebody's going through a difficulty. I happily just jump in and do those things because that's something I feel very passionate and excited about. So your passions are these stepping stones, and these nudges are the intuitive guidance within yourself of your soul trying to get you to go a specific direction. Now, another thing about this last semester, with school that I loved is that they brought forward this understanding, like if we don't listen to the initial nudges, we're not going to get the next one. We're not going to see the bigger picture. We have to start listening to the small voice that's telling us and leading us towards a specific direction, because the more we start to do that, one, our intuition is going to start to get stronger. We're going to get, two, more confident within ourselves and our decision making. And three, the path is going to start to unravel and reveal itself. So if we saw the whole picture, for example, of where is it that we were meant to be, the whole picture might be very overwhelming. We might start to over-intellectualize and try and figure out, well, how am I going to get there if I don't have this? And those kind of thought processes can really hinder us. And I feel our soul knows that at a certain level. It doesn't want to give us the full picture because we're not the version yet that we're meant to be in order to step into it. We need these stepping stones because they're going to help us grow into being that person for the bigger picture, for the soul, true purpose that is meant for us and meant for our path. So if we see the bigger picture, that could sometimes hinder us. And when we're moving forward on that, embracing this path of our true purpose and journey of self-discovery, enhancing our sense of self-awareness along the way, I think is just a beautiful thing that starts to unfold. Like when we start to listen to that nudge, that inner voice, the intuitive sensations of, hey, go this way, or maybe talk to that person, or do this, we're going to really begin to tune in to, one, how our intuition is sounding, when our intuition is sending us warning signs or telling us to go a specific path. And we'll begin to see the pathway unraveling as well in a very beautiful and unique way. Where a lot of people I like to work with, they'll bring up like synchronicity. People start to see like 222 or 111 and different things. I once knew this woman. It was the craziest thing. I loved hearing her story, where she was traveling, and anytime she looked at the clock, it was like a number alignment. And she was in this massive career shift at that time. And it was just profound to see, like, life had been guiding her and telling her, hey, you're on the right path. You're on the right path. Here's the synchronicities. Things were just lining up left and right. And when I got to meet this person, and at that meeting point, she got the most amazing career news of something she had been manifesting for years and years and years. So looking back at synchronicities, they're aligning and kind of guiding us along the way as well of, hey, have faith in yourself. Have faith in your journey. You are listening to yourself, and here's some extra reinforcement along the way. So bringing more in the metaphysical side of things, looking for synchronicities when you are stepping forward and following your path, following your emotional responses as well. Our emotional body, if we take it back to the physical, also gives cues and indicators of how aligned we are within what we're doing. So let's say we're totally misaligned. This is where anxiety and depression, frustration, anger, resentment, all those heavier emotions start to manifest, because if we think of energetics, our energy is going in a space and direction it doesn't necessarily want to go. If we think in terms of alignment, we're going to have a different energy about us, and within us maybe joy, excitement, increased energy, passions. Like when I start talking about my passion, I get very excited and very energetic, where if I was talking about something maybe I didn't like, that's a totally different space. Even my body would retract. You notice maybe somebody's talking about something they don't like, their shoulders start to slump in, and the whole presence within the body and emotions really shifts. So using emotions as an instrument that's going to help guide us forward into that true purpose. So when you think of something you're passionate about, let's say on your journey of self-discovery, passion often evokes an emotion of excitement and joy. And that's kind of that emotional nudge and alignment of, hey, you're on the right track, go that way. I strongly believe life is meant to be a space of joy and happiness. A lot of times we can get our own way. We let life experiences, the perception of those life experiences, hinder our perception of how life is, how we are, and the narratives and stories that we're telling ourselves can really pull us from that happiness and joy that's within life. And we'll throw this in, like everything around us as well, like news, media, tries to tell us like the world is awful. There's so much stuff going on in the world, and here's why it's bad, and blah, 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 blah. If we're constantly hearing that, let's think in terms of like energy, projection, how our minds work. Our brains have this mechanism within it called mirror neurons. So let's say you're watching a horrific show. Your brain is mirroring all the emotional responses from what you're watching. If we're hearing something consistently, we're going to be integrating that energetically into our mind, and that perception is then going to develop from what's outside of us. So think in terms as well, there's another energetic term of what you feed grows. So if I'm constantly feeding a negative mindset, a negative perception of life in the world, I'm going to just see that everywhere. I'm going to feel that. It's going to be constantly recreated within my internal worldview. And this is where we can see distinct differences in people and personalities, where somebody living in the same world, right, has just a different perspective and different mindset. And they could be full of happiness and joy and energy. And we get different labels of like, well, that person's not realistic, or they're not grounded in reality, or they're not, they're bypassing negative things. Somebody could be very aware of negative things that are happening in the world, but still choose a positive perception on mindset about the world and themselves. So what I'm kind of getting at, if we're looking at our journey and purpose and self-discovery and embracing our true path, if we think of mindset, we think of the world, we can have a mindset that hinder us, like the world's awful, I don't have a soul calling, I don't have a purpose, my life isn't unfolded in any way, it's not synchronizing. All of that energy is going to consistently continue to manifest that lifestyle because that's what your brain is looking for. So everything around you is a neutral stimuli, completely neutral. Your brain, your perceptions, and the story you tell yourself about what you see reinforces and then shapes and strengthens that perception. So if I'm telling myself I am finding my soul path, or I'm stepping into it, or I have a strong purpose, or I know my purpose, we're going to start to subconsciously look for the information in the world around us that reinforces that. So a lot of times, if we're looking at self-discovery, I like to throw in as well, who do you want to be? Who do you want to step into being? If you could have your dream life, if you could step into this ideal version of you, what does that look like? Because we have neuroplasticity as well within our brain. And that means we are malleable, we can change our thought processes, we can change how we perceive ourselves, our belief systems, our stories. We can change all of this stuff. So this ideal version of you, it's not elusive, it's not something that you can't achieve. It's just understanding what is that version of you doing differently than where you're at now. And what steps do you need to take to get you there? So in my coaching program, this is something I really teach and work with people, is if you could have your ideal dream self, this version of you, and maybe this is like the version of you that's aligned to their true purpose, they know themselves. If you think energetically and you think in terms of personality, how that person might dress, who you are now and who that person you envision, they're normally two different people. And I like this analogy, like we are never the same person in any moment because we're making decisions, life is happening, we're having different things change consistently. So like look at your 12-year-old self versus who you are now. Your 12-year-old self and who you are now are two totally different people. And similarly, this version of you that you want to step into versus maybe where you're at now are two totally different people. So in order to shift and step into that version of you that has and knows that true purpose, I'm sure many of you, it might be easy to visualize and imagine, yeah, this is what that version of me looks like. But that version of you probably shows up differently in the day, is doing things differently than where you're at right now. Maybe there's an example, that version of me in the future is like fit and healthy. But what I'm doing now, my behaviors don't line up with that. Maybe that's like I'm not going to the gym, I'm not eating healthy, I'm not doing X, Y, and Z. So the more we stay in the consistent patterns of where we are now, the more we're going to keep replicating this version of ourselves. So in order to change and step into that different version, we need to ground and implement the different changes in behavior, in personality, in things that we're doing daily, the tasks of what that version of you would be doing. And that's how you then grow, shape, and transform and step into that version that's your true purpose. So I'll share another story on my personal growth and journey of self-discovery. Is I've had this dream and goal and vision of this amazing holistic healing center for a long time. Even stepping into coaching, even being a therapist. If I look back at my younger self versus where I am today, my younger self was not prepared or ready to even show up in specific roles, to be able to teach, to be able to do things, because I wasn't yet the person I am today. So if my younger self had been thrown into this, there'd been a complete sense of chaos, disorder, not not knowing how to manage a lot of different things, probably a lot of anxiety, uncertainty, because I hadn't yet grown into that version. So if we're feeling frustrated in our path as well and our true purpose, perhaps there are still pieces that need to be aligned, fall into place, so we are then the version of ourselves that needs to be present in order for that to show up and manifest in our lives. So I want you to think of your journey. I want you to think of, where are you right now? What are you noticing that's holding you back? And who is this version of you that you want to step into? Because it's important that you step into your true purpose. So go a little bit on why this is important. I have another analogy that I like to use working with clients and then just people in general. Is a lot of times we get caught up in this perception that we're not unique. We're just a person, everybody's just a person, we have a lot of similarities, yada, yada, yada. However, your fingerprint, your eye structure is so unique, nobody else in the world has it. So that is true for every other part of you. Nobody has your vision, nobody has your passions that are going to be combined in the most unique way that's essential to your path. Sure, we can have similarities from person to person on things that we like, but the way those similarities can be manifested and transformed into a unique, let's say, artistic expression and creativity is going to be different from person to person. And the world needs that. The world needs your energy. The world needs to hear what your gifts are, because that's how we're going to collectively transform this planet. If we keep mindlessly thinking we have no sense of control, we have no control of our life, we have no control about the world is just horrible, this consistent narrative that's really kind of perpetuated throughout society is what's hindering us from transforming this planet. And it's a space of powerlessness. And we need to embrace our collective power, our individual power, because this is how we're going to change the world. I really want you to sit with that. In order to change the world, you have to light up your internal self. Collectively, this is how we will come together. One person could change the world, sure. But collectively, if we all embrace our path, embrace the healing journey, really go in, listen to ourselves, listen to our soul path, listen to those intuitive nudges, and all step into our calling for our soul, could you imagine the terraforming essence of what would happen on this planet? It would be amazing. It would be astronomical. It would be something that would be even hard to define in words. So the world needs this. And it needs it now, because if we look at the way the state of the world is, we can get caught up in how bad it is. We can get caught up in nothing's getting better. And if we consistently believe that, we're going to consistently continue to create that collectively. And in order for us to change, we need to first change ourselves so that we can change this world. So I want to leave you today with this thought. What is it that's holding you back from shining your light? Because the world and people in it are waiting for you, and they need you to show up. Because all of us together, if we are holding hands in one united space, this is how we're going to shift the world. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the fascinating intersects of science and spirituality. I hope today's exploration has sparked new insights and inspired deeper contemplation. If you're interested in diving deeper into these topics and accessing additional resources, I invite you to visit my website at tiffany-clark.com. There you'll find my blog, courses, and ways to connect with a community of like-minded individuals who are also exploring the realms of knowledge and self-discovery. For those of you looking to take their journey to the next level, I'm excited to offer my VIP Quantum Portal Pathway Soul Alignment Coaching Program. In this exclusive 12-week program, we will work together one-on-one to align you with your soul purpose, providing personalized guidance and support to help you achieve your profound transformation. You can apply today at tiffany-clark.com/programs. Remember, the journey towards awakening is ongoing. Let's continue to seek, question, and expand our minds together. If you enjoyed today's episode, Don't forget to subscribe and share with others who may find this topic intriguing. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Reach out to me on social media or email. Thank you again for listening to Awaken Minds. Until next time, may your journey be filled with curiosity and enlightenment.